The Prince and the Pauper, Part A by Mark Twain about the author. Mark Twain was an American writer. He was born in 1835 and lived in a small town near the Mississippi River in Missouri, USA. His family was very poor. When he was 12, he left school to work at a newspaper. Later, he got a job as a pilot on a riverboat and was very happy. He started writing stories about his experiences and wrote many of the most famous books in American literature, including The Adventures of Tom Sawyer and The Prince and the Pauper. Chapter 1 England, 1547. Tom Canty and his family lived on a street in London called Pudding Lane. The family were paupers. They were very poor and lived in one room in an old house. Tom's father, John, was a thief. He had no interest in doing an honest day's work. He sent his son out to beg and steal from people, too. He was never kind to him. One man who was kind to Tom was Father Andrew. Father Andrew lived in the same house as the Canty family, in a small room at the back of the house. Every day, Father Andrew taught Tom how to read, write, and speak nicely. Father Andrew was a great storyteller. Tom loved his stories about kings and princes. At night, he dreamed about being a prince. In these dreams, he lived in a palace, ate good food, and wore beautiful clothes. When Tom was with his friends, he pretended to be a prince. Tom's friends laughed at him when they heard him speak nicely. "Did you know," Father Andrew said to Tom one day, "that there's a real prince at the palace?" The palace was not far from Tom's home. It was called Westminster Palace, and in it lived the King of England, Henry VIII, and his only son, Edward. Henry was old and, one day soon, Edward would become king. Tom wanted to see the prince, so he walked to Westminster. When he got there, however, there were soldiers at the palace gates. Ladies and gentlemen in fine clothes were going through the gates and into the palace, but the soldiers would not let him pass. Tom returned to Westminster again and again. Then, one day, he saw a young boy come out of the palace. The boy looked just like him, he had the same eyes and the same hair. "Hey," one of the soldiers shouted. "Get out of here!" But Tom did not move. He wanted to watch the boy. Could this be the prince?